Twisted Metal was a phenomenon when it hit the original PlayStation back in 1995. One of the drivers, a killer clown in an ice cream truck named Sweet Tooth, even became a de facto mascot for the console during that era, alongside contemporaries Crash Bandicoot and Lara Croft. Hell, it practically invented a new video game genre called vehicular combat, with many other imitators in its wake. It even had a Star Wars one. It wasn't great, but you could blow up Jar Jar, so it wasn't all bad. However, given its popularity, it's a wonder no one has made a movie of it already, especially after Brian Taylor, co-director of the Austin Crank films, was tapped to write and direct one back in 2012. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another video game movie? Why the fuck would we want that? But I think the idea is viable. The series isn't super convoluted like Final Fantasy or Assassin's Creed, which necessitated streamlined narratives created out of whole cloth which only hint at the original game's story, and is much closer in scope to the original Mortal Kombat film, one of the only good ones, since both game series feature fun, colorful characters battling out in a tournament. Except, one uses cars, while the other uses fists and whatever the hell that thing is. And with the success of car-themed action films like the Fast and Furious series and Mad Max Fury Road, now would be the perfect time for a down-and-dirty, R-rated, heavy metal-infused car explosion extravaganza, which sounds awesome if you ask me. So having said all that, what exactly is the story of Twisted Metal? Well, the plot revolves around the mysterious Calypso, who has magical powers and grants wishes to a variety of increasingly colorful and unique drivers once they win the titular Twisted Metal contest. This is the mainstay of all Twisted Metal games. Except Twisted Metal 4, where Sweet Tooth granted wishes, but fuck that game. Anyway, Calypso has been portrayed in different ways throughout the series, from long-haired 80s businessman with a burnt face, to lead singer Disturbed, to another long-haired businessman, but this time with a perfectly fine face, who is also literally Satan. But whatever. Each iteration shares the same basic function. Someone with mysterious powers and motives who grants wishes to the winning drivers.
Please, Calypso, you gotta make me famous. Make it so the entire world knows my face.
But often with a Faustian twist.
Your wish is granted.
Hey, don't touch the face.
Nice. I can see all of them now.
There's a goofy and tongue-in-cheek original series featuring Twisted Metal 1, 2, and Head On one end, and Twisted Metal Black as a super gritty reboot on the other end. Later on, the final installment, simply titled Twisted Metal for the PS3, eventually amalgamated the two disparate tones to varying degrees of success. There's also Twisted Metal 3 and 4, but again, fuck those games. Now, this makes adapting it to film both easier and harder. On the one hand, with all the characters having divergent backstories and motivations in different games means there's no definitive version of any character or story. However, that also means you have to choose what parts from each version you want to use and what parts you need to toss out, which is obviously easier said than done. And with that, here's how I'd open the film. In a nod to Twisted Metal creator Dave Jaffe's other video game property, God of War, we begin in ancient Greece, where we see chariots barreling down the marble streets of Athens, driven by colorful characters using various weapons like arrows, fire, javelins against each other, crashing into buildings and running over civilians, blood, dead bodies, and fire everywhere. Eventually, a winner with a horned demonic helmet will enter a dark and spooky cave. There, he meets a mysterious man in a cloak. Through subtitles, we hear the man say,
Calypso, I've won your silly tournament. Now grant me my wish, sorcerer. I want to be the greatest champion the world has ever seen.
Calypso then will look up with a crooked smile, as you wish, and shoots lightning. As we flash to a close-up of a strobing police light. We zoom out, and we see there's a huge squadron of police cruisers chasing down, you guessed it, the de facto face of Twisted Metal, Sweet Tooth. Then, a lone police cruiser skids into the fray, and inside we meet officers and bickering siblings, Captain Jamie and Sergeant Carl Buzz Roberts. They charge onto the scene, Jamie behind the wheel, nimbly dodging traffic, and even nudging cars out of the way of incoming bullets. These characters will be familiar to fans of Twisted Metal as the drivers of the vehicle Outlaw, and as siblings, they crack wise and exchange funny one-liners, showing off not only their history, but their love and care for each other. Eventually, after a long and explosion-ridden chase scene, Jamie finally takes Sweet Tooth into custody. But not before he murders Carl and an innocent family in cold blood. This will be the motivating factor for Jamie throughout the rest of the film. Does she try to use Calypso's wish to bring her brother and the family back to life out of guilt, as she blames herself for their deaths? Or does she try to put an end to Calypso's evil tournament once and for all? This indecision will bring a hearted darkness element to her arc, As the longer she stays in the tournament, the more violent she becomes to win it, where we start to wonder if we're still willing to root for her, even if her original intentions were pure. For fans of the game, this is a condensed adaptation of what happens to the characters in the source material. In the first game, Carl Roberts drove the outlaw vehicle solo, and his wish was for Calypso to live in a world without Twisted Metal, which leads to Calypso fleeing Carl out into outer space. Ouch. Then Jamie is introduced in Twisted Metal 2 to save her brother. This is also merged with Twisted Metal Black's outlaw origin, where a different cop drives the vehicle, but is nonetheless a tale of guilt and redemption after he accidentally snipes an innocent family while trying to angrily take out a criminal. But this won't be our only point of view character, something like Hunger Games or Battle Royale, where we will follow multiple characters we care about, knowing that ultimately only one will win. Because one of the other main characters will be Thumper, aka Bruce Cochran. This version will be closest to the incarnation from the first Twisted Metal game, where he used his wish to successfully save and rehabilitate his neighborhood in Compton. Only in the film, that's more narrowly focused on him and his son, who he is trying to protect from getting into gangs like he did in his youth. Bruce's wish for Calypso would then be the ability to procure a safe future for his son. He'd do anything for him, which will make him dangerous during the tournament, though still immensely sympathetic. Of course, there'll be other characters from the games in the film as well, such as the fame-obsessed Spectre, who will be live-streaming the tournament the entire time, Mr. Grimm, and of course, the enigmatic Dollface. Sweet Tooth, meanwhile, will escape custody and reclaim his ice cream truck, and will act as the biggest threat in the tournament. Anyway, now that we've met our competitors, we're off to the tournament. Now, obviously the Twisted Metal tournament itself will be the main crux of the film, taking up most of the screen time with awesome stunts, explosions, badass one-liners, etc., as the cars rampage through the streets of Los Angeles. But since it's a lot cooler to see that than hear about that, I'm going to just say it will look cool, and we're going to move on to the end. Alright? Alright. Eventually, everyone is taken out, one by one, until it's just Outlaw, Thumper, and Sweet Tooth. Thumper and Outlaw, who have gained trust throughout the film, decide to work together and defeat the evil clown, knowing that he's the greater threat at the moment. Once Sweet Tooth is defeated, the inevitable has finally come to a head. Only one driver can survive the tournament. It's now a tense standoff between Outlaw and Thumper, and the question remains, who will win? Will it be Outlaw, who is out to reverse her mistake that led to the death of her brother and an innocent family? Or Thumper, who wants to give his son and his neighborhood a second chance? Then, Outlaw rushes out of her car and takes Thumper's car by gunpoint. However, she refuses to kill him, and reminds him that it's better to be with his son alive than be dead. Thumper tries fighting back, but Jamie is better trained, and he eventually relents, escaping death and the tournament itself. The official winner of Twisted Metal. Just then, a giant helicopter descends upon Jamie. She's advised to drive inside, and she complies. The copter then lands on a skyscraper rooftop, leaving Jamie alone. She looks around pensively. Where's Calypso? Soon, she hears from a megaphone. "You are close to claiming your prize, Officer Roberts. You just have to get past my minion, the greatest warrior the world has ever seen, and the undefeated champion of Twisted Metal for the past 1,500 years. And with that, a giant modified tank bursts out of it. We see the driver, and he's wearing the same horned helmet as the champion from the ancient Greece opening, only his eyes are black and dead. Next is a tense action scene as Jamie barely succeeds in outmaneuvering Minion. She eventually wins, and sends Minion plummeting to his death. When Outlaw finally meets up with Calypso, she is hesitant, and thinks about all the death and damage Twisted Metal has caused, and she puts a gun to Calypso's head. Calypso is unfazed, however. He then asks her if his death and the end of Twisted Metal is what she really wishes. Images of her dead brother and the dead family killed by Sweet Tooth flash before her eyes as she is taken aback. Calypso remains unafraid. After a while, Jamie eventually relents, and wishes Calypso to bring back her brother and undo her past mistake. He smiles. Your wish is granted. We flash to the car chase with Sweet Tooth from the beginning of the film, but this time, Jamie is ready for it. She easily saves the family and her brother from Sweet Tooth's grasp. Not only that, but she shoots Sweet Tooth straight in the eye. But while celebrating with her brother, Sweet Tooth, who again was shot point blank in the face, gets up and blasts Jamie in the gut with a shotgun, then runs away, escaping. Carl holds his sister close as she's dying. However, she isn't sad, but rather bittersweet about the whole thing. While depressed that she's dying, she admits, with tears in her eyes, that Calypso did indeed grant her wish. Her brother is still alive, and so is the innocent family. With difficulty, she whispers, lovingly, while wiping a bloody hand on Carl's cheek, "Calypso did it. He actually did it." And as she fades away, Carl becomes angry, growling an intense "Calypso" to the camera as we smash cut to credits. Now, this is actually pretty similar to Outlaw's ending in Twisted Metal Black.
Did Calypso really have the power to give me a second chance? Calypso had done it. I never thought it could be like...
The target is still hot.
The last scene would be an after credits tease, with kids playing in a park during summer, when suddenly, a garbled ice cream truck theme starts, and we see Sweet Tooth's dark, dented truck roll in. That's just one way you could do this. What do you guys think? How would you do it differently? Anyways, thanks for watching my take on Twisted Metal.